My name is Utami. I'm now working at Salihara Art Center, the place I love because I love art and I love ideas, and this is the place we work together in promoting the quality of art and the quality of thought. If you're asking what is the conflict in society, I think in these 2 decades, we see, or we have been seeing, or we saw the rise of intolerance. I'm talking about after the political change in 1998 until, say, 2018. My concern during those 20 years was intolerance and the use of religious sentiment for a sharpening horizontal conflict, if we are talking about horizontal conflict. And the 20 years from 2000 to 2020 or 1998 to 2018, I think the most alarming issue was the using of religious sentiment to sharpen horizontal conflict. And this religious sentiment will always be a potential to be manipulated in political power fight. That's if we are talking about the social conflict. But if we are talking about another conflict or another problem, I think corruption is still very big. I think the main problem in Indonesia. And the other things is the conflict between the local indigenous, the repression of the government, military, and the big business to confiscate or to take over the land of the people, especially in remote areas now. I think arts and literature, they do not have a direct role or influence in social change. If you want to have a social change, you have to do it in a different way. You have to fight, you have to involve in a social movement, not necessary to the art. I think the most important role of arts and literature is to keep our sanity, to keep our mental health. And art and literature is, I think, have a very subtle role to make us able to be truthful, to be honest in a way that is bearable because it used the artistic. Because sometimes truth is so ugly you cannot see it. Well, religion and spirituality can be 2 different things, but they can also be the same things, or they have an intersection. But regarding Indonesian society, I think we all know that we have this first principle in Pancasila, Ketuhanan Yang Maha Esa, which is very difficult to translate properly. So, throughout the history of Indonesia, you will see religion and spirituality is part of the national debate, and it's also part of our individual life, personal life. But I think to make a good spirituality and religion, we have to keep the critical mind. So what I want to, if there is a message in my book, I think the importance to develop this attitude of spirituality and critical mind at the same time, and I think it is possible. So this spirituality or being religious is a fact. It's a social fact in Indonesia that you cannot deny. You have to face it. I think that's why it is always involved in my writings, not only my novels, but also in my writings, as a source of inspiration, but also as a problem itself. So it can be both. It can be a source of inspiration, it can be also the problems. It's not static, yeah. I think there is a wave, there's an up and down. After the Reformasi in 1998, for a certain period of time, like for 5 years probably, we see the euphoria of freedom, in which you will find all these books on sexuality, on LGBTs, on all the left ideas, which was used to be forbidden during the Suharto time. So there was a euphoria until probably it reached kind of excess. And then there was a new trend of religiosity, yeah, with books like Ayat-Ayat Cinta, all then religious books, religious teen leads became like a trend in probably 2008, something like that, followed by trend of success story. My novel, yeah, Decadent. So my novel is will be about a subtle relation between a young couple. They are not married, but they're living together. They live together for years, and then life have started to become routine, and there is a dissatisfaction starting to emerge in the side of the woman, and then she will be involved with a powerful man, and then with the relation full of power relation. So there is a subtle psychological thing about domination too, and I think sexuality or sexual relation is the best way to portray to this subtlety. I mean, it works differently. Of course, people can see some message if they want. People can find some message, but it's not that I have message to convey to the reader, not like that. Novels for me is my way to cope with the complexity of the world. Yeah, so I want to understand this world. It is not I'm giving a message to the readers. It's actually I'm trying to give meaning to this complexity, to this chaotic world. So I'm glad if the whole process of developing meaning or giving meaning to this or trying to understand myself has a reflection for the readers. I'm happy with that. Well, of course, not everybody like my book, and sometimes some people like my book, but they think that it's dangerous. People's reaction to my works are different, yeah, and sometimes totally different. I heard from someone that when she was a teenager, probably at that time, read Saman, and when his parents found the book, they burned it. They burned the book. But there was also another case in which the parents gave Saman to their daughter when she was still in elementary school. So it really depends. Well, the situation changed a lot. When I became a journalist, when I started to work as a journalist, there was only a few female journalists at that time. Very few. I mean, I think in my office we only have like 3 out of 20, something like that, yeah. But situation changed a lot. Now, women become the workforce everywhere. But again, the quantity of women does not guarantee the quality of their thoughts. I mean, whether they are feminist or they are concerned about feminism or not. So numbers does not always translate to the content of their thought. But anyway, it's much more better. I think it's not that we have to fight or to struggle to voice our expression. But I think what we need to do as, actually not only as a female author, but as a writer, is to reclaim, to read again many women writers who were forgotten. Their names are forgotten. So when you when you came into making a canon of literature, when you came into writing the history, their names or women names were erased from the history. So their role was always there. But when our society wrote their history, it is display, the gender disparity came into play in a stronger way. So what we need to do is to read again the writings of women writers from Kartini, Sada Alim, Suarsijoyo Puspito, and the others whose names were forgotten. I don't want to see them as a young generation. I see them as a different species than me. But we can communicate, we can discuss, but they are not junior, they are not younger than me. They're just different. And I like to involve in a dialogue with them. We see the world in a very different way, probably, and probably there are some similarities. But I don't feel like I'm more knowledgeable than them.